hello, listeners, and welcome back to the Purposeful Marketing Podcast. Aaron and Mary's here with friend of the program, Kevin McClary. He's been on several times that he's essentially our other host. I'm happy he's here because we're going to discuss a topic we've done repeatedly, and this is the third time in the series. This is part 3, TikTok. What I want to do today with this discussion is, one, Kevin's our subject matter expert. He has a wonderful TikTok. I'll let him talk more about it. If you've listened to before, we really spent a lot of time talking about the mindset, which I'll kind of start there, which again, if you're in B2B marketing today, why should you think about TikTok? I think the number one reason is, where is your audience and why should you distribute your content there? For some of us, it's going to be TikTok. For others, it's not. Mary's going to have some questions later on the show about that. But that's the mindset, is there's going to be new channels over time. My audience is going to evolve over time. So how do I get in that channel? And that's kind of what Kevin's going to help us with today. So Kevin, I'll just give you the floor again. Maybe you want to give us like 1 to 2 minutes about your TikTok journey, how it's grown, and then we'll kind of take it from there.
Sure. So I got on TikTok during the pandemic when everyone did, and just started consuming a lot of the content to figure out what was going on there. You saw all the headlines. There's like lots of consumption. People are blowing up, getting millions of views. So it was just fascinating to me as a marketer. And so I started consuming more and more content. I eventually came upon people making green screen content, which seemed like a complete shift in what the platform meant. It went from like dance and lip sync and whatever to people presenting information. And so as soon as I saw that, and the way people would use the green screen, put up a photo behind them and just start talking about it, it clicked in my head. You can talk about anything you want from that point. You can use this for business purposes, education. I've been doing, so I started making content about just like pop culture, things that I'm interested in. And it's really sort of blown up. Like I've gained over 80,000 followers at this point, just talking about like things I like. And I've been doing a bit of business content as well with Gorilla 76 and making some just marketing content myself, and then posting it on TikTok, but then other platforms. And I just found like it's pretty simple. Anybody can start doing it. I don't have fancy equipment. I literally just put my phone, sit it on my computer in front of me, and write up a script and go.
Yeah, thanks for walking us through that. One thing I wanted to point out, which we talked about in the last 2 episodes, where I do think there's a discussion of, do I make branded content on TikTok, or do I focus on personal brand on TikTok, and does it matter to me? Do you want to tackle that question real quick, just to kind of recap what we've talked about?
Yeah. So, I mean, are you saying posting from like a business account versus your own, or what did you mean there, Aaron?
Yeah, good follow up. I think like for Mary, she's probably thinking like, oh man, I need to get Map My Customers on TikTok. Do I start off right away with making a Map My Customers TikTok and start creating content on that? Or am I better focused on enabling my team to create their own personal branding content on TikTok, where it's their profile, their voice, kind of what they want to talk about, and they can frame it around what we do in the industry?
I see. Well, I think on TikTok, it's cool because there's space to do both. I think there's benefits actually to using like a branded business account and having quote unquote like a mascot or a spokesperson. Like if Mary's the face of Map My Customers, she should be making that content. Like it's and the way that it works on TikTok, people respond way more if there's a human face. So you're not like making some fancy design like you might on Facebook or Instagram or even LinkedIn. It's a person talking to a camera. So there's totally space for, if Mary wants to be the face of Map My Customers and then also make her own content on Mary's account, go for it, right? Like whatever you have the capacity for.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, Kevin, because like I've also seen we've talked about it before on podcasts, like the organic reach on TikTok is insane. So I do think that there's still room to do branded content. Like, a platform like LinkedIn, branded content is actually punished by the algorithm, like really severely. There's been a couple studies where I think over time it's just gotten worse and worse to the point where most companies are only being shown now to its employees, and like that's probably it. But that's not the same. It's not the same on TikTok. The algorithm is different. So you might not get quite as much reach, but you're still getting like 10x, 100x the reach that you're getting on other social platforms. Is that what you've seen, running the branded content on Gorilla versus like, we've talked about Gorilla's LinkedIn presence a lot. It's like, it's rough, man. Like we post some really quality content. And I remember like sometimes impressions being as low as like a couple hundred.
Yeah, totally. On TikTok, not that it's like always going to be that much better, but you have way more potential. Where I think one of the first few videos I posted on there, like the third video, like very quickly got over 1,000 views, and it's probably well over now. And I mean, we still don't even have a crazy amount of followers on that account. So yes, you can reach more people easily. It's less of build an audience and then ship it out like you would with like an email marketing. It's just make content, see what works, and then learn and make better content.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing I was going to ask. I'm glad you brought that up. So, the other thing I've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed this too, on Reels ish, but definitely on TikTok, is it's not time bound. The algorithm doesn't seem to be as time restricted as some of the other ones. So, I think some of the other social media platforms have a recency bias where the more recent you post, the more people are going to see it within like a certain time frame. But I don't think TikTok is the same.
No, and the other platforms are changing with it. So I've had videos on TikTok do okay for the first 7 days, and then randomly 3 weeks later, they blow up. I don't really know why, but it happens. But I've actually seen that happen on Instagram Reels too. I'm glad you brought that up because I've been repurposing a lot of my content onto Reels. You got to remember Reels has different lengths on Instagram and Facebook. It's 90 seconds versus TikTok. It's 3 minutes. But I've been repurposing onto those. And I've seen the same thing on Instagram. Like I have videos that I posted a month or two ago still getting views and likes on all platforms.
Yeah, same here. Like some of my TikTok videos, like I did TikTok for maybe like 3 or 4 months at the end of like 2022 going into 2023. And I'll still get likes on some of my stuff. It was like 6 months ago. It's crazy. But okay, so I'm glad you brought up the next one. Aaron, I'm sorry. Do you want to like interrupt?
No, this is great.
Okay,
I love this. Roll with it.
So the other thing, I'm glad you brought up the Reels and you use the word repurpose. So does your content actually change going from TikTok to Reels? Like, do you have to shorten it? Like, do you tend to go more toward the 3 minutes on TikTok and then push the 90 seconds on Reels?
Great question. So, yes. So basically, if I give myself the space on TikTok to make the full 3 minute, that's kind of just the nature of the content that I make. I like having that full time. But knowing, okay, around the 90-second mark, this is while I'm making the video. I have it in the back of my head. Around this mark should be a good stop to where I can then cut it down and post it on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, and it still makes sense. It's still enough of a story. But there have also been times where I've gone in and done proper editing, where I've really cut it down and made it like the full story in the full 90. So, but that's all to say, yes, you need to be mindful of the length. But you can still kind of have 2 videos in one. And another tip, if you're going to be reposting onto another platform, like from TikTok to the other, you want to remove that TikTok watermark, but you can also remove TikTok metadata. And the way I've been doing that is I will take the video, I'll just like upload it into CapCut, which CapCut's a free video editing app that a lot of folks use these days. It's one of the most popular apps in the world now, but I upload it to CapCut and then I just like save it as a new file, and that removes metadata. So then Instagram just sees that as a fresh new video that you're uploading. And then YouTube Shorts as well. YouTube Shorts is a big one. They love to penalize you if you're not natively uploading. So yeah, a lot to consider, but you can still get a lot out of just one piece.
Yeah, that's awesome. What I love that Brendan does at Gorilla 76, so he has he has his military history podcast that he does on the side, and he noticed, because I remember we've talked about like too many people repurpose, and they think repurposing is what you just said, Kevin. Like what the platforms are penalizing you for is you just blast the same thing on all 5 or 6 channels, right? So we noticed that with podcast clips on Gorilla 76. I remember this. So Brendan started doing like a 30-second summary. So he'd finish like a 30-minute podcast with his friend, and it's still fresh in his mind. He's got all like the talking points in his head. So he would record a TikTok of himself on a green screen. Just, hey, here's what my friend and I talked about. Here's the main points on the Battle of Sicily or something like that. Whatever he did. So I love that idea too.
I'm glad we went down this free flowing route because I think there was a lot of insightful things there. I actually took notes myself for my own career here. So thank you for that. I think one thing I want to return to is, again, this idea, like if I'm going to start TikTok today and like, what are the skill sets I need? So one we've been kind of floating around, which I want you to just kind of talk through, Kevin, is like, do I need to know how to edit video?
Not in the way that you would have 5 years ago. You do need to know how to use either the native TikTok editor or CapCut. CapCut is basically this. It's like a clone of TikTok's video editing. So you can do it all in CapCut. They have the green screen and everything. You need to know how to use that. It's literally just like an effect, the green screen, or it's a point and click and drag type system, right? So like I want to shorten this video, I point, click, drag it down. It's all with your finger. It feels very intuitive. So you do need to learn that. But I never like watched any tutorial videos or anything. It was enough that I could just open it up and try it out and learn it myself. I think that's super helpful. You have your phone, just use your phone camera. Don't worry about getting a fancy camera and uploading it. Not just start out with your phone, and then this is something I still do, and it helped me get started, but it's something I've continued to do because I feel comfortable with it, is creating a script. And I just do that either in the Notes app or on like Google Docs, and I have it in front of me. I have it right at eye level where I have my my camera, and that helps me stay on track. I'll do maybe 10-second clips, hit record, say a few words, stop, and then go to the next thing. It makes it way, way less daunting than recording a podcast like this. Like we're free flowing it and we have each other. But if it's just you, it can seem really intimidating.
Yeah, I totally agree, Kevin. The first few times I tried to do a TikTok, I tried to do it all in one take. So I had my script, just like you said, and I tried to do all of it, and I'd be like, blah, 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 and I'd be like, oh, I have to re-record, and then blah, blah. And I remember you and I talking, and you were like, just do the clips, and that changed everything. Like, and like you said, it is so intuitive to use. It's just so easy, and the quality on like the output is crazy. Like, and the learning curve is a little steep at first. So I think when I first started out, it would take me like an hour maybe to create a video. But when the faster you get the hang of it, 15, 20 minutes, I'm done with a video. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I've gotten it down now where I'm not doing any editing after the fact. I just know where to hit record, where to stop, and all of that. And it can become like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, I think we did this in detail, kind of the different features within TikTok that makes editing easier. But really, just to summarize it, I believe like TikTok is the best app that has in-app editing where you could just really do it all in the app. But kind of what Kevin's saying is work on a workflow, and maybe that will also help you be a well-oiled machine. I think that's part of the skill set. Another piece of the skill set I do want us to kind of dive down is being able to not necessarily be an expert on a topic, but like niche down on a topic. And like that's going to be a helpful skill set, which I'm just wondering, you can kind of tell about your journey with TikTok, Kevin, is like, was that your idea in the beginning, or you just started to kind of niche more into pop culture and that storytelling as you went?
Yeah, it took me a minute to figure out what I wanted to do, but I just thought, okay, what do I gravitate to? What is something that I'm willing to take my own time and like read a 15-minute article? That's probably something that people are willing to watch a 30-second, 90-second video about. So I started out, I was talking about advertising jingles and how they were made, like the stories of I like to buy the world of Coke and all of that. I thought they were fascinating stories. So I made videos about them and immediately got like positive feedback, positive real time data, right? You're getting comments that you can help you then. I think of that as like post creative strategy. Like you're reading comments and then, okay, well, how am I going to strategize and make my next thing? So that sort of led me to my niche. I was like, okay, I feel nerdy about advertising and advertising history and jingles. Maybe there's somebody else that is as well. I'm going to post this, get data back, and then go down the rabbit hole. And I think we're at the point now where we have billions of people on the internet and almost everyone in America is on the internet, that you can think of anything. You could be passionate about anything, creating like tools or pipe fitting or pipe cutting and things like that. There are people out there who are interested in that as well. So don't be afraid to like truly niche down into where you are. You may not get hundreds of thousands of followers, but you're going to find the people that want to see that. If think about if your like most obscure, like weird interest, if you see someone come across your TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or LinkedIn and talk about that, you're going to get really excited. So that's how I think about niching down.
Yeah. And yeah. What does Mary, you say? The riches are in the niches.
Yes.
So I think there's a point to be made there with that skill set for individuals we work with or listen to this pod, or like my clients. Essentially, there's subject matter expertise out there. There's people who have 10, 20, 30 plus years about one subject, talk about it on TikTok, especially if it's interest based, especially if it's niche down a little more. Like your people are out there, and TikTok's really good at serving that content to them. Probably more so than Reels. I kind of throw that to you, Kevin. Has Reels gotten better at kind of the interest targeting like that, or is TikTok still better at it?
Yes. So you have to know. So there's a couple little hacks though. I've found Reels do way better if I, again, keep it in that 90 seconds or less, remove metadata, and then use 3 hashtags. I don't know why that's the number, but 3 seems to be the golden number. And even if you use the same ones over and over and over, for some reason that Instagram, Facebook algorithm likes that. And post it. There's like a checkbox too where it says like post to your feed. Yes, you want it in your feed, like in your grid. But those 3 things. It's weird with these platforms, man, because like it seems like it shouldn't be this complicated, but 2 little checkboxes or hashtags can make the world of difference.
No, thanks for walking us through that. I think these are the things maybe Kevin, you need to capture in a document. Maybe
Yeah.
there's your gated asset right there. I think again with the skill set, another one I want to point out, which we've sort of already sprinkled in and talked about, is this idea of storytelling. I think that will serve you well on TikTok. Again, there's a lot of how-to content. There's a lot of comedy. There's a lot of different ways to do it. But I think particularly with you, Kevin, and some of my other favorite TikTokers, specifically, there's this one guy who does like music history, and he'll just be like, this one moment in time changed indie rock. And then he like tells a story. I think storytelling works really, really well on TikTok. You got anything you want to add to that?
I think I know the guy you're talking about. I think we follow each other. Like we've, yeah, like storytelling like that. The hook really is a big thing. Alan on the Gorilla team, he's been making content about like B2B ads, which I think is really cool. Like he'll pull up an old B2B ad and do a breakdown of it. But that's the thing I keep getting with him is like create a hook, ask a question, get that intrigue in the first 3 seconds, really, and then tell your story. So, for example, if I am making a video about an advertising jingle, I'll be like, "Hey, do you remember this Coca-Cola jingle?" And then I play like 3 seconds of the jingle, and people are like, "I do. I want to know what you have to say." Right. So if you're making content about anything, right? Like, did you know X? And then you go.
Yeah, I totally agree. I used to do a lot of like listicles on TikTok. So it'd be like, here are the 5 things that you need for your content strategy. And it's just like, bam, it's like, oh, what are these 5 things? I can't wait to hear it. I totally agree. The hook is like everything with these video platforms. I love that you brought up storytelling. I kind of want to move into my very selfish question now.
Do it.
As far as like storytelling, so you have storytelling for your personal brand, and then you have storytelling for Gorilla. How is that different when you're creating content for a brand versus, personal?
Yeah. So on the brand side, I mean, of course, there are brand guidelines. You have to consider the history of the brand, like who is the audience of the brand versus yourself. I think with when I'm making content for Gorilla, I'm doing a lot of sorry, I just saw lightning flash like really close to my house. So
Man,
I'm
the
getting
TikTok
distracted.
gods don't want you to say it.
But when I'm making content for Gorilla, like I'm thinking what what is going to be valuable to this audience. So I'm creating content of how do you run paid search ads for B2B for a B2B company. And not only is that different than the content I'm making for my own personal brand, but it's different in B2B versus B2C. You have to think what's going to hook this type of audience versus this one. And I don't know, think of like the nuances of if you're sitting down in front of the person you're trying to reach, like what would be the thing you want to show them on your own computer screen, right? Like what is a hack that you want to share? What's something like that's actually usable? That's how I've been approaching it with Gorilla, like making it very, very tangible, tactical, like advice.
Awesome. And then so you're like really honing in on that like marketer persona, like the
Yes,
person who's going to be using these tactical things day to day.
exactly.
Nice. Love it.
Yeah, I think that works. And again, if you're in B2B marketing and you're trying to start today, like the fact is that content's not out there. So if you just give your expertise, I know you can work on storytelling, you get better at it over time. I'm sure Kevin would say from day one to day now, he's way better at it. But if anything, the content is not there. So that's why you should do it. Just to kind of wrap us up with tool set a little bit is I think people do want to know, like, do you have a tripod? Like, where'd you get your green screen? Can you just like quickly give us like your tool set? Like, what are the tools you need to start?
Yeah. So my production setup, my sophisticated setup is I have a $15 ring light from Amazon. Um, I I do not have a green screen. The effect in TikTok or CapCut is literally built in. You just upload a photo off of your phone and it makes it a green screen behind you. This is my green screen right here, this weird brick backdrop. And my tripod is I put my camera on my laptop, in the laptop.
Love it.
No microphone. That's it.
Okay, that beautiful. Thank you for explaining that. And I think that stops a lot of people too. Is like, man, what kind of equipment I need? And again, it reminds me of this podcast, which is like, all I need is my camera. I don't even need these headphones or mic really. Like I just need to have a conversation. And with the content, I just need to tell a story. So I think if you need to start, you can start with nothing. And like that's such a beautiful thing. Before we wrap up the show, Mary, I want to make sure you get all your questions in that you have for Kevin.
Yeah, I think I got most of them. I'll just be like selfish again and ask for my own purposes. Like when we're considering moving some content or creating content like native to a platform like shorts or reels. I'm not sure we'll explore TikTok quite yet. We just don't have like the bandwidth for it. And you have like a tangible product in your experience, especially because I know we talked about this on an industrial marketing live when we did like TikTok for manufacturers. How have you seen like product videos play out?
Yeah, I love that you're bringing this up because I was just thinking about this and looking at this actually on TikTok. And I think a great place to just get started is like, so if you have a physical product, this water bottle, like record yourself, hold it up, talk about it. You know, you don't have to use your like fancy brand film that you have. I know like if you're in SaaS, right? Like screen share, right? Like, or you could start out, hold it up, like hold the camera up to your phone, be like, hi, I'm so and so. I made this product. This is what it does. It helps these people. And then screen share, just be like, this is how cool it is, right? Like it again, I guess that's why I went to the, if you're sitting down in front of the person that you're trying to reach, what would you do? And that's kind of how your video should feel, right? Like I see way too many folks, the advice early on with TikTok or even YouTube, right? It's like follow the trends, like do the dances and the sounds. And no, that stuff is not sustainable. It's not interesting anymore. Like just make good, relatable content. Be a human. I don't know what else to say.
Heck yeah, I love that. I could not agree more. I mean, if you are finding traction on another channel, like a blog or your website or LinkedIn or whatever, like, yes, like do the same thing, but just on the other channel.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's such a grand statement. I don't think there's anything more to be said about that. I did want to return to mindset just to mention this last point is I think authenticity matters. And I believe we talked about this on the last TikTok, but like Kevin, you are very authentically you. Again, I know I've known you for a while. We're going, more than a decade. And like you talk about the things that you had talked about with me a decade ago. Right. And I think if you can find that passion, as Kevin, you mentioned earlier in this episode, and it could be marketing, it could be for your product, it could be very technical and specific. Like that's going to really lead you down the right path to creating TikToks that matter. Kevin, I'll give you the mic one more time. Just anything you want to say about TikTok, or just plug your your TikTok again, or I'll give you the floor.
Yeah, I love what you said there, Aaron. Like it's, if you're passionate about it, it's not going to feel like work. It's just going to be fun. And if you're, no matter what, like if it's marketing content or it's your own interest, like, I don't know. I don't see any downside to making content about stuff that you like. It's fun. It's going to make you happy. And whether you get any other type of return or gains other than happiness, like it's worth it. So just get started. I'm just a dude. Like Aaron knows me. We used to just sit at coffee shops and I would be like, hey man, do you remember this weird 90s jingle? And he'd be like, yeah, why are you telling me this?
Yeah, I'm into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought that was it, right? Like I was like, I'm just going to be that guy. But then I started talking about it on the internet and I found out, oh, like there's tens and hundreds of thousands of people that are into this too. So I don't know. It's brought a lot of good stuff, and I want everybody else to be able to do the same thing with their weird, nerdy interests.
Love it, love it, love it. Good.
I want to share one thing that Kevin's story reminded me of. I like follow this one like marketing guy. He owns his own like agency where he does like copy and like PPC. And he was talking to this guy who has these like love chocolate bars. I guess they're like, I don't know, that's what they're called. And he, went viral because he paid all of these people like $50 each to create a 30-second TikTok where they're talking about how much they love this chocolate bar. And it just went crazy. Like he just like his whole company exploded. And, you know, he's talking to this guy and telling him his story. And the marketer, you know, bless him for being honest, was like, I would never have done that. I never would have recommended that as an agency owner. I probably would have told him to like go build his e-com site and do some PPC ads. But guess what? Guess what worked? Being authentically him and saying, no, I trust this channel. I know this is what's best for my business.
Love that.
Man, what an episode. When you have to ask why, the greater why, authenticity, have fun. These are things what keep us as marketers as we go. I know for me, I like to do fun things. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in this business. So listeners, appreciate you. I love these episodes. We're going to do more tactical breakdowns, bring on experts to us. So Aaron, Mary, James, and Kevin, when he comes on as the co-host as well, can learn from others. So if you want to be a guest, the best thing is to DM me on LinkedIn. That's how I found most of our guests on the next upcoming episodes. You can also find this on Spotify, YouTube, all the places you want to watch it. It's there for you. And go have fun. I'll leave you with that. Appreciate it, listeners.